The sound of aircraft engines was a low, constant hum in the background, a kind of mechanical heartbeat to the luxury hangar Saturday operations. Sunlight poured through the open bay doors, glinting off the polished fuselages of multi-million-dollar jets. Inside, the air smelled faintly of aviation fuel and money, the kind of money that never needed to ask the price first. At 10:42 a.m., Shayla Smith walked in with Mark Ellison, her longtime friend. He was tall, clean-cut, wearing a tailored navy blazer over crisp khakis. She was in a fitted black silk blouse, wide-leg cream trousers, and Louboutins that clicked against the hangar floor with precision. It was the kind of place where silence wasn't uncomfortable, except when it was broken by something ugly. A man in a navy polo, embroidered with prestige aviation above the breast pocket, approached them before they'd taken 10 steps. He was about mid-40s, barrel-chested, with the kind of tan you get from golf memberships and networking lunches. His eyes locked on Mark, then flicked dismissively over Shayla like she was background noise. "Sir, welcome," he said warmly to Mark, extending his hand. "Are we here to look at your new purchase?" And he gestured vaguely toward Shayla without looking her in the eye. "Will your assistant need a visitor badge to access the tarmac?" Mark blinked, the corners of his mouth tightening. Shayla's expression didn't change. "I'm not his assistant," she said evenly. "We're here to view the G700 series with the extended range package." The man's smile faltered for half a second, then reassembled itself, brittle. "Of course," he said, still keeping his body turned toward Mark. "We do have a few pre-owned options as well, if you're looking for something more approachable." Approachable? Mark's eyes flicked to Shayla's, silently asking if she wanted him to step in. She shook her head slightly. From across the hangar, a receptionist in a cream suit was watching. She leaned toward another staff member, her voice pitched just low enough to be overheard. "Is she with catering?" It wasn't loud enough for the whole hangar, but it carried, especially to a young woman standing near the entrance, phone discreetly raised. The TikTok live interface flashed in the corner of her screen at Hangar Witness. A few comments started scrolling in real time. "Oh no, here we go. She didn't just say that. Bet they think she works here." The man in the navy polo introduced himself as Todd, head of client relations. "Mark, if you'd like, I can take you to the lounge while your colleague," his eyes finally brushed Shayla's with a faint smirk, "waits outside." "The client lounge is for prospective owners only." Shayla's voice was calm but clipped. "Does that lounge serve prospective owners who actually own the building we're standing in?" Todd chuckled, missing entirely that it wasn't a joke. "Well, unless your company is on the title, I'm pretty sure that's above anyone's pay grade here." The clock above the flight operations desk read 10:48 a.m. The hangar's busiest viewing window, Saturdays between 10 and 1, was in full swing. Behind them, a family was being shown a smaller Cessna. Two older men were discussing fractional jet ownership near the open bay door. No one else was being carted, quizzed, or told where they could stand. A security guard appeared at Todd's shoulder, called over by a discreet wave. "Problem? Not yet," Todd said smoothly. "But we've got our situation." The young woman live streaming shifted her angle to catch the entire scene. Comments poured faster now. "Wow, they're profiling her hard. Why is security here already? Bro, she's dressed better than everyone in there." Mark cleared his throat. "Todd, you're making a serious mistake." Todd held up a hand. "No offense, sir, but we've had incidents before. People pretending to be buyers just to take pictures. Waste our time. We run a very exclusive operation here." Shayla tilted her head, studying him like she might a chessboard. "So your exclusive operation involves making assumptions about who has the means to be here?" Todd gave a little shrug, the kind that says I didn't make the rules, except, of course, he enforced them. The receptionist's voice floated over again. "Do we need to call management? Or, the police?" The guard shifted his stance, hand near his radio. Shayla glanced at the live streamer. "How many viewers?" The young woman startled. 800 right now. And climbing. Todd followed her gaze. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to stop filming." Shayla ignored him and looked back to the camera. "Keep it running." At 10:52 a.m., Mark reached into his jacket pocket, pulling out a slim black leather card case. His movements were deliberate. He selected one card and held it between two fingers. "Todd," he said, "before you embarrass yourself further, maybe read this." Todd took it with the casual arrogance of a man expecting nothing important. He flipped it over, the embossed gold lettering catching the sunlight. Shayla Smith, founder and managing partner. Aurelius Capital Group. Portfolio assets under management, $4.7 billion. Todd's smirk faltered, but Mark wasn't done. Look familiar, he asked, nodding toward the massive Prestige Aviation sign above the hangar office. Aurelius Capital Group acquired Prestige Aviation, this hangar, this fleet, this entire operation, 11 months ago. The live stream comments detonated. She owns the place. Todd's about to be unemployed. This is better than Netflix. Shayla took the card back from Todd's limp fingers. So yes, I think I'm allowed in the lounge. The security guard stepped back, his expression caught between discomfort and relief. By 10:54 a.m., the viewer count had passed 3,000. Local aviation enthusiasts in the comments were already tagging news outlets. Todd swallowed hard. Ms. Smith, there must have been some misunderstanding. Shayla's voice was like glass, clear, cold, impossible to bend. The only misunderstanding was your assumption about who belongs here. And you just made that assumption on camera, in front of thousands of people. She turned to Mark. Shall we? They walked past Todd without waiting for permission, heading for the lounge. The live stream followed them, catching the way conversations hushed as they passed. Someone in the background muttered. The live stream followed them, catching the way conversations hushed as they passed. Someone in the background muttered, "That's the boss." They didn't stop until they reached the glass-walled lounge, where a young attendant rushed to open the door, smiling nervously. Ms. Smith, welcome. The clock read 10:56 a.m. The day's real work, and the fallout was just beginning. By 11:03 a.m. that same Saturday, the video had crossed 15,000 live viewers. The hashtag shows the hangar started trending in the local metro area. People weren't just watching, they were screen recording, stitching, reposting. The moment Todd's face drained of color as he read her card was already looping on Twitter with captions like, "When help turns out to be the CO." Shayla Smith. Remember the name? Inside the lounge, Shayla lowered herself into a white leather armchair. The attendant brought sparkling water without being asked. Mark sat opposite, still riding the quiet adrenaline of the reveal. "You sure you didn't want me to drop that on him earlier?" he asked. Shayla smirked faintly. "No. Sometimes people need the full rope." At 11:11 a.m., her phone buzzed, her assistant Jordan calling. She picked up. "Your TikTok just hit 500,000 views," Jordan said without preamble. "My inbox is exploding. Also, the board has seen it." "Good," Shayla replied. "Schedule a staff meeting. Monday morning. Everyone, no exceptions." On Monday, at about 8:59 a.m., the hangar conference room was full. Sales staff in pressed polos, mechanics in coveralls, administrative assistants in blouses and slacks. Todd sat near the far end of the table, visibly paler than Saturday. Shayla stood at the head, flanked by Mark and Jordan. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. "You all know why we're here," she began. "Some of you may think this is about one incident. It isn't. It's about a culture. A culture that makes certain assumptions about who has the money, who has the power, and who belongs in this room. That culture ends today." She clicked a remote. A photo from the live stream filled the screen. Todd handing her card back, his expression caught mid-collapse. Gasps rippled across the table. "This," Shayla said, "isn't about humiliating anyone. It's about showing you the cost of bias." In the 48 hours after this video went viral, we lost 3 confirmed buyers. They told us in writing they didn't want to be associated with a company that treats potential clients differently based on appearance. Todd shifted uncomfortably. Shayla let the silence hang for a beat. "Here's what's going to happen," she continued. "Effective immediately, we're instituting a mandatory inclusion and bias training program. Customer intake procedures will be rewritten. No one, no matter how they look, speak, or dress, will be assumed to be less than a prospective owner. Every person will be treated like they belong here until they prove otherwise." Jordan handed out packets, timelines, policy changes, training dates. "And Todd," Shayla said, turning slightly toward him, "you'll have the opportunity to lead by example. You'll be the first to complete the training, and then you'll assist in teaching it to others." A faint murmur went around the room. Todd's jaw tightened, but he nodded. "Understood, Ms. Smith." 2 weeks later, the changes were already visible. The reception desk, once tucked behind a frosted glass panel, was moved forward into the hangar space, a deliberate choice, so customers were greeted openly, not screened from a distance. Staff uniforms were updated. The branding softened to feel more approachable. Shayla herself was in the hangar more often now, walking the floor, greeting prospective buyers. She made a point of speaking to younger staff in front of clients, signaling their expertise was valued. The live streamer from that day, whose real name was Kayla, was invited back to record a behind-the-scenes tour. Her video hit 2.3 million views and reframed the hangar as the place that changed. 3 months later, the quarterly numbers came in. Revenue was up 18%. Inquiries from first-time buyers, especially women and clients of color, had doubled. The viral incident had become part of the brand narrative, but not in the way scandals usually cling. This wasn't the story of a company caught doing wrong. It had become the story of a company that fixed it, visibly, measurably, unapologetically. Local business journals ran headlines. Prestige Aviation's turnaround, from viral mistake to market leader. Shayla kept a printout of the first viral still in her office, not as a trophy, but as a reminder. At the next staff meeting, Todd stood at the front of the room, flicking through slides on customer engagement. "When I started here," he said, "I thought I knew who our clients were. I was wrong. We have clients from everywhere, every background. And if you assume otherwise, you're going to miss the sale, and more importantly, you're going to miss the relationship." Shayla listened from the back, satisfied. 1 year later, the hangar was unrecognizable in all the right ways. Diversity in staffing had tripled. A mentorship program paired junior employees with senior staff. The lounge had been expanded, with open glass walls that made it clear everyone was welcome. And every time Shayla walked the floor, there was a quiet ripple, not of fear, but of recognition. At 10:42 a.m. on a Saturday, almost exactly 1 year after the incident, Shayla entered with Mark again. The same sunlight poured in, the same smell of fuel and money in the air. This time the receptionist smiled broadly. "Miss Smith, welcome back. The G800 you requested is prepped for viewing." Mark leaned toward her as they walked in. "Feels different." "It is different," Shayla said. "And that's the point."